colleagues have told you this is what you got to do. Your mentors, your advisors. You have weak ways of getting business, viable, very viable ways, and then obviously the strong. Here's weak. If all you're doing is going into Fed Biz Ops, that's weak. You're not going to win a lot of business doing it that way. The bid matching services, it's only weak if you're not doing the viable and the strong. If all you're doing is using a bid matching system and you're not using techniques and strategies to position for that opportunity, you're not going to win a lot of contracts. Top on the list, PTAC. That's why I'm here today. If you are not actively working with the PTAC, you need to probably start doing so. Strongly recommend. You know, what Fred said about, they've got now a sheet of paper where you got to, sign a line and fill it out. Make sure you do that. Small business office. Small business program office, or the OSDBU, small disadvantaged. They are a microcosm of society, right? A lot of your mentors, colleagues will say, you got to go onto that military base. You got to go to that federal agency. You need to go into that small business office. Microcosm of society. Some are good and some are not. How do you know if the small business office that you go into is going to actually provide you with the value you need? Very simple. Do they influence the acquisition process? There is a former small business director at U.S. Transcom, Transportation Command at Scott Air Force Base, Michelle Mendez. Now, I haven't spoken to Michelle in probably 3 or 4 years, but when she was running the small business office for one of our large joint commands, the contracting officers brought the RFPs to her before they put it on the street and said, would you review? And if she looked at it and go, oh, no. You've got this for large companies. I know for a fact there are 4 small businesses that can do this. This triangle is an enigma for a lot of small companies. You have 3 corners. Your company, you've got your partners, you've got the government. What do most companies do? What do most of you probably do today? Most of you see the opportunity in Fed Biz Ops, and you immediately call your colleague down the street, or you call a company that you met at another conference, and you start teaming. The larger companies will go, that's great. You want to be on our team? That's outstanding. Well, I don't run that part. Michael runs that program down in the other office. And, I know he's already got the team put together or he's working on it, but, some of your capability statement, and we'll look at it if we're interested, blah, 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 blah. You're being pushed off, okay? You are like 100 other small companies that are approaching this larger company to be on their team, right? And you're doing this. You're pretty much begging. What value do you bring? Well, our products are outstanding, we're the best in the industry, and that's great. The other 99 companies said the exact same thing to them. How do you differentiate yourself and get on that team? Before you talk to your teaming partners, call the government. Little technique that I use, I'll get the contracting officer on the phone and say, and hopefully it's pre-acquisition. No RFP or RFQ yet, right? It's RFI, source of sought, or maybe before then. And I talk to the contracting officer, first words out of my mouth. Hey, John, Josh Frank, Arson Federal. I got a question for you. I want to reiterate that or emphasize, this is not about an opportunity that is in acquisition. I can't tell you how important this is. Because most contracting officers, first of all the contracting officers that were baby boomers, they're all retiring. All right? So the contracting officer community is really, really slammed. They don't have a lot of time to be taking calls. The easiest way to get you off the phone, I'm sorry, I cannot talk to you about that opportunity. Click. It's that quick. The first thing that I say to a contracting officer when I get them on the phone, this is not about an opportunity that is in acquisition. I just stole his thunder. Okay? And then I quickly move on and say, I understand, though, that something is going to be coming up. This opportunity is going to be hitting the street, I don't know, 3, 6 months, whatever. But I also know that this requirement that you've had, it's been out there for 10 or 20 years. This issue didn't just appear overnight, or maybe you already have this product and service. Why now? Why do you need more at this juncture? Whatever response you get is outstanding. Because I'm going to take that answer. Now I call the larger company. And I say to him, hey, this is Josh Frank with Arson Federal. I understand you're going to be going after this opportunity. Yes, we are. And I cut him off. And we've been talking with the contracting officer. And we've got some good information. We think it'll make the overall team competitive. Would you be interested in bringing us on your team? And what's the first question that's going to come out of their mouths? What did the contracting officer tell you? What's the largest mistake that small businesses make? They tell them. You just lost all your leverage. So don't give away anything that you learn. I don't care if it's a large company, small company, colleague, down the street in another company. You hold that information until you have a signed teaming agreement. Okay, these are all the techniques and strategies. We talked about this 10%. And by the way, if we go back real quick, instead of them saying, well, Michael's working on it, etc., the gentleman you're talking to or the lady you're talking to says, hold on, I want to get Michael on the phone. We're going to do a three-way right now. And you are on the team. 90% of the time, if you simply make an easy call to the contracting officer, position properly, it's not in acquisition, what's driving the requirements now? I don't want to ask you a bunch of competitive stuff that's going to give us an advantage. Of course it's going to give you an advantage, but you got to disarm them. 90% of the time, you'll get on that team. Whether you sell garden hoses, technology, doesn't matter. Call the contracting officer. This is why the 10%, if only 10% are Fed Biz Ops, teaming with other companies will help eliminate you just being focused on that 10%.